So when you do a Periscope, you can
flip it back and forth, the camera. Hi everybody, I am Bonke the author, and the thank you tour continues. As you guys know, I am nearing the 1-year anniversary of the release of my debut novel, Always Want More. So to celebrate the occasion and to thank all of the wonderful, amazing people who had a key role in my journey, I am doing the thank you tour. So for 30 days, I'm interviewing 30 people. Hey MJ! I'm interviewing 30 people just to thank them and to share them with all of you guys, because I have such amazing people in my life. So I'm going to flip the camera so you guys can see the beautiful Jaylynn. And we are in Brown Sugar Pastries, which is a Black-owned bakery in the Hungerford building. Let me just get close up on their sign so you all can see their hours. Okay, is everybody peeping that? And let me just show you how beautiful it is in here. Okay, so this is a Black-owned bakery in the Hungerford building. I've said this before. I don't promote businesses just because they are Black. I think if you are a Black business, then your standard of excellence should be even higher. And Miss Gina of Brown Sugar Pastries, she just kills it each and every time. So that is where we are. We are at Brown Sugar Pastries in the Hungerford building, and they have a lot of Halloween themed things going on right now. Trying to get that coin. I'm not mad at them. All right, so let me sit back down. And I don't know why I'm getting notifications, because I put the phone on Do Not Disturb, but what can you do? All right, so actually I'm gonna get in on this with you. We're gonna flip it such like that. And we'll do it in landscape mode, because I have the tendency when I do the introductions, I get all worked up and I talk on and on and on. So let me show you guys Jaylynn as I'm doing so.
I'm here.
Okay,
in the flesh.
She's here in the flesh. Alrighty, so Jaylynn Little is just an amazing entrepreneur, an amazing writer, an amazing businesswoman. She was of Soulyfe.com, and what Soulyfe did was it highlighted different local artists. And again, you couldn't just be local to be in Soulyfe. You had to really be dope. So when she said she wanted to interview me, I was like, yes, I'm coming up in the world, because I knew Jaylynn originally from Church of Love. And she was just one of the coolest people in the church. Like, I think that if you're a believer, you should still have a swag, a coolness that will attract people, right? How are you gonna be saying God is this and God is that, and you walk around looking raggedy? Right. No. So Jaylynn and her whole crew, they just had like this persona, like you wanted to know them, you wanted to be a part. And so I've been watching Soulyfe as it's grown. I've seen the artists that she has highlighted, the best in Rochester. So I was very honored to be included amongst them. And yeah, so she was the first person to interview me, and I felt all the way official. Like, it was awesome. So that is Jaylynn.
Hello, everyone. And thank you for this moment, this opportunity. I don't think I've actually ever been like even interviewed. I mean, I know Periscope is a reach when you say interview, but I've never actually had this like sit down. So
you're always on the other side of it.
I'm always on the other side.
Right. So she's so selfless. So thank you guys for all the hearts, and if you have any questions for Jaylynn, feel free to chime in with them. So my first question, and I'm sure many of you guys know this, Soulyfe is...
It's no longer. Soulyfe is it's going through a transition, and I say no longer, but it may come back. But for right now, where I am in my life, just with my journey, my growth, my womanhood, and just how when I launched Soulyfe and I was 22 or 23, my needs have changed from being 22 to 28. And I'm no longer that attached to what we did as far as promoting artists and their work as I am to really promoting women in business and women in entrepreneurship, and really giving women a stage, a spotlight, and a place to say, okay, this is something where I can call home and something new. So that's what I'm looking to do, more so transition into something that's more fitting. But Soulyfe, it definitely taught me not everything, but a lot of what I know in terms of entrepreneurship, building a brand, leadership, being just transparent, being honest with myself. So it was definitely a great platform for me to start my journey.
What made you brave enough to start such an undertaking at 23 years old?
Boredom. And,
Okay.
and boredom. When you just get to a place when you're just always bored, you have to kind of ask yourself, why am I always bored? Is my job not fulfilling? Is the life that I have not fulfilling? Or the images that I'm seeing, or that maybe those images aren't enough? But I knew that I had a strong desire to lead, and I knew that at 22, I wasn't good at taking. I wasn't good at following.
You need your own shit. Right.
Right.
I understand.
I said, well, let me try this thing. And I had absolutely no clue. I just knew that I had some pretty dope friends who were all artists. They were singers, musicians, actors, writers. They were just amazing. And no one was talking about them. So I wanted to create some type of platform. And at the time, it was a magazine. I wanted to take some type of platform and talk about these people that no one knows, not because they're not good, but there's just no other media outlet to really spread light and good light, about these people. So I just kind of led with the spirit of, I want to do this, and I'm just going to figure it out. Made a lot of mistakes, but I figured it out, and I noticed that my level of boredom became it's just non-existent. I was never bored. I always had something to do.
Something to learn.
I was always striving. So I think that was...
Always want more.
Always want more. You can never stop learning. You can never stop striving and wanting something more for your life. So I think my start, it just came because I was bored. I needed to do something.
So you, like you said, you built it up. You put the work in. You created an amazing platform. How did you know it was time to move on from that?
I think when I could no longer identify. I could no longer identify with the brand. No.
We're good.
I could no longer identify with the brand. And I was pushing myself in a very abnormal way. You have moments where, as an entrepreneur, you do have to push yourself. No one is saying, hey, you have to go do this. It's your business, so you have to do it. But the way that I had to really push myself was different. Like, I've never been in this place where I just didn't want to do something. Quality content wasn't at the forefront anymore, and that's not me. I just wasn't. My heart wasn't in it, and I knew it. I felt it, and I felt it for a long time. But it was just a fear of, I don't want to start all over. I don't want these artists that I've worked with to feel like I didn't like their stories, because I did. I love them. Hey, who's that?
MJ.
Hey, girl. And I just didn't want to seem like a failure. And I know that I'm not, but when you don't have the opportunity to really sit down with everyone and say this is why, and not that you necessarily need to, but I just didn't want to feel like I had given up. So, but I knew that I was no longer, my heart wasn't in it anymore. And when my heart wasn't in it, I knew that it was time to kind of close up shop or just figure out a different way. But I found myself saying, okay, well, maybe I can take Soulyfe and make it a clothing line. Maybe I can take Soulyfe and make it an events company. Maybe I can take Soulyfe
trying to hold on.
And you lose the authenticity of the actual brand when you keep trying to pull it in different areas, because you're just dragging. So I knew my heart wasn't in it. I couldn't relate anymore, and it didn't excite me.
So you ultimately listen to the spirit. And then in your feelings and your emotions of you dreading to do certain things, and that was the key. That was the kind of the alarm.
Right. And when you're working with people in their lives, you never want to feel like it's a chore.
Right.
If I'm going to interview you, or you send me a request and say, hey, Jaylynn, I'm a new artist. I would love to be featured on Soulyfe, but I'm having these, feelings of, I don't want to do this. That's not anyone else's fault or issue but mine. But I didn't want to approach my business with that attitude and that spirit.
Well, I thank you for sharing your testimony, because your open letter, like, that was just really touching. And it's like, I think a lot of times as women, we think that we owe people certain things, but the first person that we owe is ourselves. So you've been a female business owner for a long time. You got skin in this game.
A little bit.
A little bit. What are some of your tips or advice?
Tips for what? Starting or
let's
figuring it out?
Starting.
Starting. I would say get a plan, and that even saying that is funny to me, because I hate when people say that, like, Jaylynn, you need a plan, especially your parents.
Right. I got a plan.
Right, and you think you do, but you really don't. And the plan will change, so be aware of that, and don't be afraid to pivot. But I would say get a plan. Have a real goal, some tangible goals that you can work toward.
To have a time on them.
Yeah.
Please, people.
Yeah. You have to have some type of time, because you'll be working forever. And when I say plan, I'm not just saying a business plan. A business plan is definitely, I won't say necessary all the time, even if it's just a 1-pager or a 5-pager. Have something where you can say, okay, this quarter I'm going to do this, or this month I'm going to do this, and really start checking those things off so you can see, okay, this is working for me, this isn't. Maybe I need to go back to school and learn this, or maybe I need to take a class and do this or something. Really track your progress and your success so you can kind of figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are as an aspiring entrepreneur. And just learn your craft. Learn it to the best of your
Can you say it again?
ability.
Can you say it a couple more times?
Learn your craft. You have to. I mean, if whatever you want to do, but I don't care, whatever it is, you have to learn it, and you can never stop learning. Even being an entrepreneur, that's a craft, and you will always be learning. Taking courses, taking online courses, reading books. Reading books is probably the number one
you sound like MJ.
learning tool that that you can do. I think Tiffany Montgomery, she's always talking about reading books too. You have to read, you have to know what you're talking about, what you're doing, and it also provides just a sense of clarity and peace for you, because if you can read someone else's story and say, okay, yeah, I'm going through that same thing, okay, I might be on the same path. It really just allows you to be able to walk in your journey and understanding your path. There's so many things.
And there's no substitute for reading. I think Periscope is an awesome tool. It's an awesome learning and teaching tool. But everybody that you hear saying certain things are basing it off of something that they read. And so you need to read that directly so you can slow down enough to really, truly process it. Break that information up. Let it digest, you know?
Absolutely. There's so many things. Definitely surround yourself with the right people. That doesn't mean eliminate the other people, but get you some friends who understand this business.
Who know what the fuck they talking about. Can I interject that?
And aren't afraid to say, you know what, that didn't look good. That didn't sound right, or your website is not showing up correctly on my phone as opposed to my computer. You need to work on. Get some friends who are going to be real with you and aren't just going to watch you sink.
Jaylynn came to support me at the first Rochester Black Author Expo, and my table was looking a mess.
It was hurting. It was hurting bad. I said, like, what's going on?
And the first thing she said, we got to get this table together. Like, you need friends like that.
Yeah, definitely. But there's so many things. I mean, if I can be of assistance to anyone, you can always hit me up. The Soulyfe site is actually still up. I don't know why my hosting site won't take it down, but it's
They're like, no, this is one of our favorites.
You can always email me anything. I'm always open to give tips, things that I have learned. But yeah.
And where can we find you? I tagged her Periscope name to the title, so that's Jaylynn Little on Periscope.
I'm on Periscope. I don't really scope a lot. I'm gonna get better at that. Instagram, Jaylynn Little. Like I said, Soulyfe.com is still up. It won't take it down.
Right.
So maybe that's a sign, but I'm not listening to it right now.
Right.
You can always email me, miss.jaylynn@gmail, and I can answer any questions for you.
I don't know if y'all know what a jewel that is. She just hits you with the email address. Is she going to run it back? Nope.
Nah.
Right,
No,
you got to play from the beginning.
miss.jaylynn@gmail.com, and I'm very, and you see me in public, I don't speak much, but if you really hit me up and say, Jaylynn needs some help, or just, can I pick your brain? More than likely, I'll respond. because I get it.
Right.
We're all in this together.
And you have to work for certain things. Like just because somebody, I'll speak, I think Jaylynn has a standoffish demeanor, but that's not how she really is. But if you're really looking to get information from somebody, that first initial demeanor shouldn't stop you. So push past that, folks.
Yeah.
One last question, because I know what you're moving forward towards is going to focus on being a woman and as an entrepreneur. What is the one thing to avoid as being a woman, businesswoman, being a businesswoman?
One thing to avoid. For me, two things actually. Intimidation. Avoid allowing yourself to be intimidated by someone else's success, or saying or thinking like, oh my gosh, she has it together, I don't want to reach out to her just yet because I'm not there. But that is going to stop you in the long run from being able to make those major connections, so avoid allowing yourself just to get to that place of being turned off or scared or fearful of what someone may say just because in your mind you're not there yet. And also, as a woman in business, avoid allowing yourself to think that we're in competition with one another. We're not. We
all got our own lane.
We do.
There's enough room for everybody to eat.
It really is. And I think if you really allow yourself to think, well, I'm just going to figure it out, and at some point I'll outshine her, you're never going to win. You can't do it together. Everything that we do is always going to be as a result of just collective energy.
Collective
Energy coming together, saying, sis, I can help you. What do you need? Or whatever it may be. But don't allow yourself to get turned off by the fact that you need help from other women. We get it. We're in it together. So just really flourish and blossom in your business, and take everything that you can in and say, okay, I'm going to use this. I'm not going to use that, or I'll put this to the side. But all of the advice that other people give you, especially women, take it, listen to it, only because, like I said, entrepreneurs get it. We understand the grind, we understand the hustle, we understand the late night tears, everything.
The empty fridges, the long hours, the negative bank accounts, all of that.
We get it.
Yes,
so
we've all been there.
Don't ever think that you are above or below someone. We're in it together, so. Amen. And another thing, going back to, being intimidated by someone's success, I am a huge proponent for having your brand looking good. And
keep the hearts coming, folks.
Just because someone's website may look like they spent $1 million or whatever, their branding may look impeccable, that doesn't mean that they're not willing to work with you. That doesn't mean that they have it all together. That just means that they have that one part of their business together, or they're trying to attract a different clientele, or they're trying to attract higher spending people, whatever it may be. But don't allow the attraction, or don't allow the perception to stop you from doing what you want to do.
Wonderful advice, and make sure that your own perception is excellent. I needed to hear that my table was hurting. You'll be so proud now. I got new material, girl. Be popping.
I'm proud of you. It's necessary because that's all people see.
Right.
Before they even say hi, that could be what may stop them from saying hello. Like, she didn't even want to straighten her sign for me, so why am I saying hello? That's petty, but still.
There it is, folks. That is Miss Jaylynn Little. You can find her on Periscope, Instagram. She dropped the email address. You may have to catch your replay. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in to the Thank You Tour. We'll continue going. As you can see, everybody around me is incredibly dope. And so I'm just trying to share my village with you so it inspires you to create your own village. And then hopefully we can all link up. But let me say this about networking and reaching out to people. When you reach out to somebody, have in mind what you can do for that person, not just what you can get.
Right.
Okay? All right. We love you all.
Bye.
And God bless.
Have a good one.
Flippity flip. Stop.